The Intermediate Life Cycle Courses. Continual Service Improvement. Lesson 7. Continual Service Improvement through the Life Cycle. Welcome to Lesson 7. In this lesson, we'll study the interfaces between continual service improvement and other areas of service management. Many processes support continual service improvement activities, and we'll study the main interfaces in this lesson. The information in this lesson relates to the syllabus section CSI 03. Remember, it's strongly recommended that you carry out further reading in the Continual Service Improvement Core volume as part of your exam preparation. As we've already learned, continual service improvement happens within all stages of the service lifecycle. To achieve this, continual service improvement needs to be integrated within each lifecycle stage, as well as within the underlying process. In this lesson, we'll study how various processes support continual service improvement during these key activities: gathering and processing data, analyzing data, presenting and using information, and implementing corrective action. You'll recognize these activities as part of the 7-step improvement process that we've studied in the previous lesson. First, we need to consider how CSI will be integrated into every area of the service lifecycle. We'll review each of the lifecycle phases. Within service strategy, monitoring includes the progress of strategies, standards, policies, and architectural decisions that have been made and implemented. Service strategy is responsible for analyzing results associated with implemented strategies, policies, and standards. This includes identifying any trends by comparing results against goals and identifying any improvement opportunities. Within service design, monitoring focuses on gathering data associated with the creation and modification of the design of services and processes. Service design will monitor whether the critical success factors and key performance indicators that were defined during business requirements gathering are relevant, effective, and can be measured. Service design defines what should be measured. This includes monitoring project schedules, progress towards project milestones, and project results against goals and objectives. Service design analyzes the current results of design and project activities. Trends need to be recognized and results compared against the design goals. Improvement opportunities will also be identified by analyzing the effectiveness of and ability to measure critical success factors and key performance indicators. Next in the life cycle, service transition will develop the monitoring procedures and criteria to be used during and after implementation of a new service or process. In this stage, monitoring and gathering of data focuses on the actual release into production of services and service management processes. Service transition is responsible for ensuring that the services and service management processes are embedded in a way that can be managed and maintained according to the strategies and design efforts. This lifecycle phase develops the monitoring procedures and criteria to be used during and after implementation. After transition, there is service operation. This stage is responsible for the actual monitoring of services in the production environment. Service operation does a lot of the processing of data and provides input into what can be measured and collected into logical groupings. Service operation is also responsible for taking component data and processing it into a format that provides a better end-to-end perspective of service achievements. As we've discussed throughout the course, our measurements need to focus on services and service performance, not individual components. Service operation analyzes current results and trends over a period of time. Both incremental and large-scale improvement opportunities will be identified. Service operation performs much of the actual data processing, as it's not possible to fully monitor a service until it is live. Service operation is also responsible for taking component data and processing it into a more service-focused format. For example, the reports show that the server was available, but the network was not. The overall result was that the service was unavailable to users, even though some components were available. Continual service improvement's role in this activity is to receive all the collected data from the other lifecycle stages. This data is an input into all the continual service improvement activities, helping us to identify improvement opportunities and set priorities. Have you got a dedicated functional group in your organization with responsibility for continual service improvement? If so, is this group the single point for combining all analysis, trend data, and comparison of results to targets? Having a single point of coordination for continual service improvement can deliver a number of benefits, which we'll review on the next screen. You can see the benefits of a coordinated approach to continual service improvement here. Improvement opportunities will be identified in all areas of the lifecycle and can be reviewed, prioritized, and turned into a consolidated recommendation to senior management. In many organizations, data is gathered in technical areas and not used. A continual service improvement function will make sure it is reviewed and used. Without coordination, many different groups end up trying to improve the same areas, and as a result are unable to make progress. Sometimes staff are too busy with their day jobs to make improvements. A dedicated continual service improvement function will bring discipline and drive coordination and support. Don't forget, in smaller organizations, this continual service improvement function could be a single individual or even part of an individual's role. As long as the role is being fulfilled, the benefits will be delivered. We're going to move on now and study the processes that are involved with gathering and processing data. Every process should try to improve continually. The process metrics that are measured should show where cost reductions or improvements can be made. We're going to study these processes and their role in gathering and processing data. Service level management, availability and capacity management, event management, incident management and service desk, information security management, and financial management. Let's start with the role of service level management. CSI needs to work closely with service level management. When service targets are agreed for a new or changed service, they need to highlight areas for improvement. Service level management supports the 7-step improvement process by driving monitoring and measuring requirements and reporting on service level achievements. Service level management defines what level of service is needed to support the business and puts targets in place to make sure this is achieved. Without service level management, it can be much more challenging for CSI to identify opportunities for improvement. Remember, even if service delivery is outsourced, improvement still needs to be addressed. Any contracts should include targets and budget for improvement. During data gathering, service level management will support CSI in a number of ways, including those you can see here. It will ensure end-to-end service data is gathered and analyzed. It will identify who gets the data and at what point it is delivered to them, before or after analysis. It will define what is measured and reported on, and highlight any gaps in the monitoring capabilities of the organization. Finally, service level management will be responsible for developing and agreeing operational level agreements and underpinning contracts that support service level agreements. During CSI data processing, service level management provides support in the areas you can see here. Ensuring that service level agreements only include targets that can be measured. Making sure operational level agreements and underpinning contracts define the required measurements. Providing an end-to-end review of process data. And defining reporting frequency and formats for data. Next, let's look at availability and capacity management in relation to gathering and processing data. What part do these processes play? Well, they provide significant input into existing monitoring and data collection capabilities, and can provide tool requirements to meet new data collection needs. The availability and capacity plans are updated to include any new or changed monitoring requirements. Availability and capacity management are accountable for the actual infrastructure monitoring and data collection activities that take place. This involves defining roles and responsibilities and filling these with properly skilled and trained staff. The processes are accountable for ensuring tools are in place to gather data and ensuring that monitoring actually happens. During data processing, availability and capacity management will also have responsibility for processing the data at a component level. Work with service level management to transform the data into an end-to-end perspective. Process data on key performance indicators such as availability or performance measures. Ensure that they comply with the agreed reporting formats. Analyze process data for accuracy. Availability and capacity management provide a lot of low-level information to support continual service improvement. If this is inaccurate, many of our later conclusions will also be inaccurate. Next, there are the service operation areas: event management, incident management, and service task. We need to carefully study their role in gathering and processing data. Incident management can define monitoring requirements to support event and incident detection, possibly using automated tools. They will open or escalate tickets without human intervention. Event and incident monitoring can also identify abnormal situations and conditions, which helps to predict and preempt possible service performance issues. As a result, this will avoid potential service and component failures. Incident management and the service task are also responsible for monitoring response, repair, and resolution times, and any incident escalations that take place. Again, this can help to identify any trends or areas of concern. The service desk is a single point of contact. It will monitor telephony items such as call volumes, average speed of answer, and call abandonment rates. This is so that immediate action can be taken when there is an increase in contacts to the service desk. This would also apply to those service desks who provide support via email and via the web. Data would come from email or web monitoring rather than telephony monitoring systems. The service desk provides many essential inputs to continual service improvement. Data on the number of contacts and incidents is a valuable input, but the instinct of the service desk should also not be underestimated. Talking to service desk staff can lead to early identification of service issues that have not yet made themselves apparent in the data we are collecting. For example, staff may tell us there is a lot of concern or anecdotal evidence of a performance issue, but the degradation is not yet leading users to raise incidents. Event Incident Management and the Service Desk also provide support to continual service improvement by processing data on incidents and service requests, such as the type of incidents we are receiving or where the most calls are coming from. Collecting and processing data on key performance indicators, such as the percentage of incidents resolved within service targets. Using the agreed reporting formats. And analyzing process data for accuracy. As we mentioned earlier, the service desk and incident management will also process data for telephony statistics. These can include number of calls, average call length, number of abandoned calls, and so on. The service desk can help to remove any information that may be misleading. For example, calls that are abandoned before 3 rings of the telephone are normally discounted. It's likely the user changed their mind and hung up, rather than this being an indication of them hanging up due to the length of time they were kept waiting. Next, let's look at the role of security management in gathering and processing data. This process is responsible for defining security monitoring and data collection requirements. It will then monitor, verify, and track the levels of security according to the organizational security policies and guidelines. Security management will also assist in determining the effects of security measures on the data monitoring and collection from 3 perspectives. Confidentiality. Data should be accessible only to those who need it and are authorized to view it. Integrity. Data is accurate and not corrupted or corruptible. And availability. Data is available when needed. Do you have confidence in the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of your data? Security management will also support CSI by processing response and resolution data on security incidents, creating trend analysis of security breaches, validating the success of risk mitigation strategies, using the agreed-upon reporting format, and analyzing the process data for accuracy. The last process to consider is financial management. This process is responsible for monitoring and collecting data associated with actual expenditure versus budgeted expenditure. It can help to answer questions such as, are costing and revenue targets accurate? What is the ongoing cost of service provision? In addition, financial management will provide the necessary templates to assist continual service improvement to create the budget and expenditure reports for improvement initiatives. Financial management will also provide the means to compute the return on investment of each improvement. We'll study this in more detail in Lesson 10. We're looking at how continual service improvement is integrated within the service lifecycle. We have just looked at gathering and processing data. Now we're going to move on and look at how specific processes support the activity of analyzing the data throughout the service lifecycle. Let's start by looking at the role of service level management in analyzing data. When analyzing data, the service level management process will analyze service level achievements and compare them to service level agreements and service level targets. Service level management will document and review trends over a period of time to identify any consistent patterns and identify the need for service improvement plans. Finally, service level management will identify the need to modify existing operational level agreements and contracts. For example, we may be failing to meet a service level agreement target because the targets in our underpinning contract are not aligned with it. The underpinning contract may be reviewed and changed, or we may need to change the service level agreement target in agreement with the business. Availability and capacity management also have a role to play in data analysis. They will analyze component and service data to identify any trends. This includes comparing results to previous months, quarters, or annual periods. These processes will also identify the need for any improvements in the way we gather and process data. Another important task for availability and capacity management is analyzing the performance of components against defined technical specifications. In addition, they will document and review trends over a period of time to identify any consistent patterns. They will also compare results with prior months, quarters, or annual reports, and with agreed levels of service. Lastly, support is given through identification of any need for service improvement plans or corrective actions, and analyzing the process data for accuracy. Incident management and the service desk provide support during data analysis by documenting and reviewing trends related to incidents, service requests, and contact patterns over a period of time to identify any consistent patterns. They will also compare results with prior months, quarters, or annual reports and with agreed levels of service. Lastly, support is given through identification of any need for service improvement plans or corrective actions and analyzing the process data for accuracy. As you would expect, problem management has a key role in the analysis activity. Problem management supports all the other processes with trend identification and root cause analysis. Normally associated with reducing incidents, problem management is also involved with helping to define process-related problems, as well as those associated with services. The main problem management activities that support data analysis are shown here. Performing root cause investigation to identify what is causing trends. Recommending improvement opportunities. Comparing results with prior results. And comparing results to agreed service levels. Does your problem management function play an active role in service improvement? Finally, we need to consider security management's role in analyzing data. Security management relies on the activities of all other processes to help it determine the cause of security-related incidents and problems. It will submit requests for change to implement any necessary corrections. Security management is supported by other processes, as you can see now. Availability management provides information on areas such as confidentiality, integrity, availability, and recoverability. Capacity management provides information on capacity and performance. For example, a major increase in network traffic could indicate the presence of a virus. And service continuity management provides support during planning for how to handle a crisis. Security management supports continual service improvement around the security aspects of improvement initiatives or security-related improvements. Their role includes documenting and reviewing security incidents for a time period, comparing results with prior results, identifying the need for service improvement plans or corrective actions, and analyzing process data for accuracy. We're on to the penultimate step of the 7-step improvement process. Let's look at the processes involved with presenting and using information. Step 6. Firstly, there is service level management. This process presents information to the business and discusses service achievements for the current period. Information will be presented in the form of service level agreement reports and service reviews, and should also include information about what led to the results. It will also include any incremental or fine-tuning action required. In summary, service level management will conduct regular service review meetings, both internal and external, support the preparation of reports, provide input into prioritizing improvement activities, and update the Service Level Agreement Monitoring or SLAM chart. A SLAM chart is used to help represent achievements against service level targets. It uses color coding to show the data pictorially so that it is easy to understand. Availability and capacity management support the presentation of information and data through the reports that they prepare. Also, these processes provide input into prioritizing improvement opportunities or corrective actions and implement incremental or fine-tuning activities that do not require business approval. Incident management and the service desk also provide support around the preparation of reports and provide input into prioritizing improvement opportunities or corrective actions. The service desk are very close to the user population and so can provide useful input around prioritization. As with other processes we have discussed, they will also implement incremental or fine-tuning activities that do not require business approval, such as minor changes to the incident management process. Problem management also provides support during the presentation and use of information. This is mainly delivered by input into service improvement initiatives and prioritization of initiatives. Problem management can help continual service improvement to understand which improvement activity will have the greatest positive effect on service performance. You can see from the areas we've discussed that there are some common activities across all processes, such as making sure that data is accurate and carrying out fine-tuning that doesn't require business approval. This reinforces the importance of a continual service improvement culture. Without this, the individual process areas may not see the improvement activities as part of their scope and will not carry out these common activities. The final area we need to study is the implementation of corrective action. There are two processes to consider here: service level management and change management. Let's start with change management. Any corrective action that is implemented should be carried out under change management. If not, we may cause more problems than we solve. If continual service improvement has determined that an improvement is needed, it will raise a request for change. This request for change must be submitted to change management and will be dealt with like any other type of change, including being prioritized and categorized according to policies and procedures defined in the change management process. Release management, as part of service transition, is responsible for moving changes into the production environment. Once the change is implemented, continual service improvement will form part of the review to assess the success or failure of the change. Continual service improvement personnel should form part of the Change Advisory Board and Emergency Change Advisory Board. Changes may affect continual service improvement initiatives, so involvement in the CAB can allow continual service improvement to provide input to impact assessments. The other process involved in implementing corrective action is service level management. SLM will document any service issues as an improvement opportunity on the CSI register. These will then be prioritized and managed using service improvement plans and initiatives. When service quality and/or availability is affected, service level management must instigate action to identify and implement whatever actions are necessary to overcome the difficulties and restore service quality. This will be done in conjunction with availability and problem management. Improvement areas identified by service level management may also focus on issues such as training, system testing, and documentation. For example, an out-of-date process document could be causing incidents to be handled incorrectly, resulting in targets being missed. In these cases, the relevant staff need to be involved and adequate feedback given to make improvements for the future. At any time, a number of separate service improvement initiatives may be running in parallel to address difficulties with a number of services. These will need to be funded, possibly out of normal expenditure. Some organizations establish an upfront annual budget held by service level management, from which improvement initiatives can be funded. However, in other cases, a formal project may have to be raised to seek the budget from elsewhere. If an organization is outsourcing service delivery to a third party, the issue of service improvement needs to be discussed at the outset and budgeted for in the contract. Without this, there is no incentive during the lifetime of the contract for the supplier to improve performance. There may be incremental improvement or large-scale improvement activities within each stage of the service lifecycle. One of the activities IT management have to address is prioritization of these service improvement opportunities. So, from what we've studied in this lesson, we can draw two conclusions. Firstly, continual service improvement is at the heart of all elements of the service lifecycle and underpinning processes, and must be part of our culture and objectives. Secondly, continual service improvement relies on interfaces to other service lifecycle processes to be efficient and effective in monitoring, measuring, and identifying improvement opportunities, as well as implementing corrective actions. You've completed Lesson 7, Continual Service Improvement Through the Lifecycle. We've studied the main interfaces between continual service improvement and the other lifecycle phases, including a look at the individual processes that support continual service improvement. Don't forget to download your study guide for this lesson before you move on. Coming up in Lesson 8, we'll start to look at service measurement. Remember, effective measurement is essential for continual service improvement, helping us to identify and demonstrate improvement.